Brad Garrett, everybody.
Oh, boy. Welcome. This is nice. People from the lobby.
Yeah, they're.
They forced you to do this, and then you got this guy going, come on, come on. Don't let him think it's over.
We were just talking, you've got a terrific new TV show.
Thanks. Well, yeah, it's Sarah's show, Sarah Chalk. I'm just on the bus, but she's the star of it, and she's amazing.
But you get to be married to somebody that I think most
Elizabeth
people...
Perkins.
Yeah.
Fell in love with her in big when I was coming of age. And blossoming. I blossomed into a giant Jew. But saw her on the trampoline and never forgot it.
And now you get she gets to play your wife, and then the thing is, before that you never thought these two would be so great together, but you guys have the strangest chemistry ever in this show. It's really great.
You know, it's funny. They were on board, and I really wanted to have an opportunity to be part of this pilot, and they were very, very gracious, but they were like, oh, that's great. No, thank you, pretty much. And I went, I really relate to this guy because it's very different than anyone I've ever played on TV. And they're like, well, we're thinking of maybe. And I said, well, I'd love the opportunity just, to read. And they said, thank you. And they read a few people. And then they said, would you do a chemistry read with Elizabeth? And I said, oh, that would be great. And it's funny because chemistry, you can't write it, and it's something that happens or doesn't. And we just started riffing, and she's fearless, comedically, as is Sarah. So we just had a great time, and she had a lot to do with me to landing it, because she was just so free and so generous as an actor that we just started riffing and improvising and just having a lot of fun. And it's easy to want to be married to her.
Yeah, sure. And you guys you both, I think, go to this place that we've never seen you go before, because you are way more laid back, I think, in this character. It's more of a street guy.
Sure.
We're used to you doing the jokes a lot of times at your own expense.
Sure.
Breaking things down. And here you're this, for the first time ever, this I don't give a fuck guy.
Exactly. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't a midlife crisis for me. I came up this way.
Right,
we're not great parents. We're okay parents. And what I liked about the show, there's a lot of older kids moving back home with their families, especially with the economy and everything. And the spin on the show was, we're not that crazy about it. It's like we're happy to help you, but your room is my office now, type of thing. How long will you be here? Which I think is really what most parents think. If they have a happy empty nest, which we do. I mean, we have a marriage that's still going and rocking, and we don't care how we look or what the years have done to us. We're still into each other, and we party a little bit, and we have a good time, and she's telling us how to live. Yeah, kind of like this couple.
Yeah,
I could just, because she just hit him. She just hit him either like, oh, they're drunks like us.
Right.
It was either that or, see, you could do what I do.
Yeah.
It was either one or the other. I wasn't sure.
Some families like Percocets. There's no way of knowing.
There's no question. But I'm on the Percocet patch. That's how fucked up I am. And 4 Cialis. I took 4 Cialis before coming out here. So you have 20 minutes to decide how much you like me. But one of you are going to take a punch.
But it is funny because you are like grandparents, but like partying grandparents.
Well, are you a grandparent?
No.
Okay, but you could be. You got the ponytail.
No, the thing is,
I've got a ponytail.
No, I've got abortions old enough that they could have had kids.
Oh,
so that's something.
That's charming. Charming.
Not everybody's pro-choice. I thought this would.
Yeah, we're pro-choice. We just never thought of naming an abortion. But wow, I love that about you.
Well, but you don't ever do the back of your mind like, how old would? Yeah, that would be old now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like, but it is a time where grandparents would have went to Aerosmith shows.
Yes, exactly. And we did. And that was the thing. We have a lot of flashbacks in the show. And because, they want to show what we were really like as parents. And a lot of parents, who were kind of younger in the 70s or 80s or whatever, were having this notion where like, well, I'm going to be my kid's best friend, which is, and I had a dad like that, and he was a wonderful guy, but you can't be your kid's best friend. And now having 2 teenagers, I'm like, I don't know if I want to even be their fucking friend, let alone their best friend. You know, I think I'll just wave at them on my way to the yard.
Right.
So they were kind of like friends with this Sarah's character Polly, and you know, we grew up and we all kind of did our own thing, and I love it because you know she's kind of the one that's more grounded, because you know when you're raised by hippie parents, you usually end up with a kid that's more grounded and a lot more conservative. But
because
great.
The kids have to rebel, they have to be different than their parents.
They got to rebel. So hey, now see, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. So they rebel the other way.
Yeah. So you're actually a better parent.
That's why my kids are Gentile.
Yes. Right.
Interesting.
Well, with your kids, you can always say, "Look, I haven't been a great dad, but I'm giving you money." You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's
I
a
can
nice
do that with
thing.
my abortions.
Yeah. See, that hurts her. That hurts her every time that you say that.
That hurts too. Why are you pointing to her?
Yeah, because she moans.
You mean the rednecks from Iowa, right over here in the corner? Where are you from? Who's the farmer in the plaid? Where are you from, Skipper? Where?
Westchester.
Westchester. How far off was I?
An hour.
Okay. I mean, I know my people. Nice to see you from Westchester.
It's from
How
an
long
hour.
have you two been married?
23 years.
Oh, see, I would rather slam my dick in a drawer. Not that it isn't lovely. I don't know how you do. Well, look at him. He's fucking numb. I mean, he's embalmed over there. He's like, I mean, every time I look at him, he's like, help me.
Yeah.
But she's very hot. You did very well. You did very, very well. Me, I can't commit.
But by the way, remember when you first got here and you thought it was great? You got those seats?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God,
He's
small.
such an asshole. Where's Robbie? We thought we were going to meet Robbie. This guy's a dick.
Do you go? I guess you do go through that though, where people feel you've done so much stuff. People feel like they know you.
Sure.
Wherever you go.
Sure.
And is it a tough thing to deliver on, or?
Well, no, not, I mean, you know, there are people that don't understand that TV is make-believe, you know, but the only time it really kind of has a bump sometimes is when I do stand-up. I have my own comedy club at the MGM in Vegas, and, you know, my act's a little tangy. It's not for everyone, you know, but you're welcome. And I'd love to have you two as my guests.
They'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little. So I got some of the older demo. You know, the Raymond show was around for a while, and sometimes it skews a little older.
Right.
The viewers. It's like old people and their parents pretty much would watch, but I would get some of the old people coming to the show, and they were like, you know, they're like, you know, I'm like. They're not thrilled.
Right.
I mean, it's like, you know, the Civil War called, they have your diary, you know, and they're like, what? But I actually had a couple, leave and I was on like 10 minutes. This is like last week, and they made a mistake. They fell, and anyone can have a refund, you know. And they were really, really up there. And I went, you know, have you been across the street to the Titanic exhibit? Because they have your luggage, you know. And they were like, they what? They what? And he's like, let's get out of here. And he really said, but what's hysterical is, this was great. They were on their scooters, God bless them. And they got there early, so they're nervous. God love it. And reverse on the Rascals aren't great. You know, it's more of you got to go neutral, reverse, and then oxygen, I think is the three gears. So they're like, you know, getting a little fatoots trying to get out of there, and they're knocking into shit. And they literally went up the aisle on their little, and you see the flag going like this. And I went, you know, out of 30 years of stand-up, I have been walked out on, but no one's ever driven out. You know, and I said, I've hit a new low. You know, people are like, yeah. But
so,
we gave them their money back and refunded them, and they were thrilled. They went to see Terry Fator, the guy with the puppets.
But you never say to yourself, I got some older people, maybe I better cater
Why would I do that?
You were not
do
going to
you
do
cater?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't. Hence
Not at
the
all.
abortions. They would love that stuff. Oh my God, you're 85. They could have aborted you. You wouldn't even be here. Who's with me?
You know,
they would have loved it.
I noticed the abortion
Do
stuff
I cater?
Unbelievable. Slowly starting to pick up applause, though.
Well,
it's becoming more and more acceptable as the show's going on.
Of course. Well, they're looking at us and thinking maybe we should go with abortion.
Maybe
with these two guys here.
But so you that's the thing about your act. Your stand-up is pretty different from your acting.
Sure.
And you've kept them both going at the same time, right?
Yeah, pretty much. The only time I took a break from the stand-up actually was when I got the Raymond job, because I was on the road for 16 years before I landed a regular acting job, and I just went, oh God, I'm so tired of my act. And I just stopped doing it because, well, the production schedule. And also and Ray was like, oh, you can't give it up. It's in your blood. And I go, no, I really want to give it up. So I went to, and he goes, I'm going to be at the Mirage. Coming. So we were doing Raymond about 7 years, and I really stayed off the stage, and I went to see him, and I was in the back watching his show, and he was just killing. He's just a great monologist. He's a great writer, and he called me out. This is when the show was doing well, to do a Q&A, and I kind of got bit again. I said, well, now my life is very, very different, and I really felt that I really never came into my own about coming out there and just spritzing and, roasting the crowd and telling, and kind of doing, what I've always kind of done backstage on the set. So he kind of, jump-started my thing, and then we started working together at the Mirage and having a great time, and then so I jumped into it. But I did take a break, and I didn't know if I'd come back to it, It's because it was rusty, Oh, look, hi, nice to see you. No. And
the guy with the guitar.
It's a guy with a, it's amazing. Just a bunch. Look, he has no idea what he's doing. I'm here for a colonoscopy. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, he's definitely drunk. Yeah, any guy carrying, he doesn't even play guitar.
No, he doesn't.
He's just a very wealthy homeless guy.
His lunch is in there. He's just
sleep outside, but I got a Gibson. Okay.
But stand-up was first for you, right?
Yeah,
stand-up.
Yeah. I started when I was like 16. Believe it or not, I started really early doing stand-up, and had the hacky act for years.
But that's when not a lot of people were doing stand-up when you started, right?
Well, when I started, it was really kind of the heyday. I mean, it was really where, every city had 15 clubs. And, when I got rolling, it was like the early 80s, and it's when it was just when it was, but like my open mic night, I'll never forget it, because, open mic night, you show up at a comedy club, 5 hours before they open, and you sign up on a sheet, and then everybody gets a number, and then your name is drawn, and whatever. And my first night, I was going on at like 11:40. This is like on a Monday night, and I was going at UCLA at the time, which I quit after 6 weeks because, I wasn't college material at all. And I said, I really want to do stand-up. So, they come to me at 11:30. They go, there's a guest spot, so we got to bump you a couple minutes. I go, okay. And so I sit back. They go, ladies and gentlemen, came in to just work out some Mr. Jay Leno, So Jay, in those days was like, always brilliant, doing this thing, co-hosting the So he goes in and slays. Now here I am, 18, supposed to follow with my brilliant material. What if Cosby was an airline pilot? Oxygen. Okay, so I figure. So now, like, what am I going to do?
Everyone in the room's laughing, but one, just you. You're like,
Well, I mean, it was just, and he's up there slaying. I mean, so I'm like, and the sweats. And like, I really don't want to do this. And I was with my brother, my older brother. He's like, look, you got to go on. It's going to be fine. And, it was, 79. So, I had 9 Quaalude jokes, and the whole thing. And Jay's like, you think McGovern's going to get elected? What about McGovern? And he's doing that heady political stuff. So about to go on, they say, we got to bump you one more time. This will be the last bump you're going to go on around, 12:20. I said, okay. The MC goes, ladies and gentlemen, he has a brand new pilot on ABC called Mork and Mindy, Robin Williams. Now, Robin goes on to a standing, gets a standing ovation, So now I'm going like, what if Herman Munster was a waiter? And I'm backstage with vomit right here, and Robin is like, taking out a light bulb and turning it into 15 things. And my brother's like, if you want to come back, we can come back another night. And so Robin walks onto a standing ovation and got a standing ovation again, like 10 minutes in. There was just no one like this. No one had seen anything like this. And then he's done, and just about everyone leaves after Robin. And it's ladies and gentlemen, Brad Garrett, and it was just, I can't tell you the horror,
right?
And I was, and I think I was so scared. I think I even walked up like Cosby. Hey, where you going? And people were like, what is he doing? And it was, and when you have 5 minutes and you forget 3 of them, it was just, horrific. But I think, then, if you either, change your name and leave the country or you're back next week. Yeah. If you're sick.
If you can find that kind of horror that you went through, to be fun and funny and, to know that there's someone else out there saying that they had to follow, Leno, Robin Williams, and Brad Garrett now. They're telling that fucking story.
I don't think so.
Because they put the chairs up after that.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, I hope you follow Garrett.
But that is the funniest. I mean, that's that kind of strangeness going again. I mean, who would want that to even happen today? Comic.
Today, I would leave. Today I wouldn't want to do it. But it's part of it. It's just, and that's why it's, so many years on the road. It's funny. Everyone went like, why would you build a comedy club? Why would you do? I mean, it's as risky as, say, I'm going to have my own bar or my own restaurant. I know it sounds corny, but for the road, comics are treated like such shit, especially early on. You're in these, the accommodations are awful, and they put you in a 2-bedroom apartment. They have 4 guys in it, and it rotates every week. And there's shit in that condo that would make CSI run back to the van. You know what I mean? You've just never seen, and it's that old dead hooker smell. Where is that coming from? And you have to sleep in it for the next week while you're at the club. But we're just we're circus people, comics. We really are. And so I just want to have that quintessential club that's just built right, where there's not a bad seat and the sound is great and the accommodations are great for the comics. So I built it at the MGM, and we're having a ball, and I'm there 1 week a month, and then 7 nights a week we go with other comics that we get from the circuit and from all the different late night shows. So it's my way of putting it back and really helping guys and gals that are coming up to have a venue in Vegas, because there's no crowds like Vegas, especially for comics, because you literally get people from all around the world, so you can really find out how your material is doing.
Right.
Back in the day, you would go, I got to try it in New York, then I got to go to Florida, we'll try it in California. But, if you kill in Vegas, then you're going to have a set that's going to work on Letterman or something like that,
And the funny thing about comedy is, despite the fact that you've had all this success on TV and people know you, you still got to go slug it out once you get back to even your own club. You still have to go back and do it again. You're absolutely
right, because it's stand-up, and it's like, they know you, and you get, nights of, 2 minutes they're with you, and then you got to prove it again. It's like, oh, it's great. Yeah, we saw that new show. Okay, what do you got?
Right.
They don't care. And that's the thing, especially the real hardcore comedy people. I mean, Louis C.K. has been brilliant for 20 years. He just needed the right vehicle and was smart enough to, as Seinfeld waited, they were throwing him pilots 10 years before, he did his own show, but he knew it had to be right. And it's tough because they want to make you, all right, Jerry, here, you're going to be a dentist in Iowa, No, he knew he had to play himself, because that was really his thing. And he surrounded himself with a brilliant cast. It's just being able to hold out and try to to make it your medium, which is becoming more and more difficult, believe it or not.
Well, the strange thing is, unlike a lot of people that you've even brought up, you had a lot of early success getting on television, and a lot
of bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things were canceled and stuff before Raymond.
Right.
I had a few things, but I got really lucky. I mean, again, it's I teach like a comedy intensive sitcom class a couple times a year. I'll teach like a class for some actors that want to, are thinking about sitcom or whatever. And there's no question that you need a certain amount of luck. But what everyone forgets is when that luck comes around, how prepared you have to be. And, they'll spend more time finding the right photographer to shoot them in the best light than they will to get with the right coach. It's training. It's all about training. And, to this day, there's acting classes and I train, and, stand-up is really training because, you're going to take it on the chin one night a week. You just are. It doesn't matter who you are. They won't know it as much as you know it, but it's never refined. It's always evolving. And it's same with acting, because the Raymond thing, I mean, I had to fight for that audition. I couldn't even get into the audition because everyone had in their mind who Ray's brother was, especially Ray.
Right, because he had an actual brother.
He had an actual brother.
Yeah.
And they kind of wanted like a little Danny DeVito type of scrappy brother, looking up at Ray like, you get this and you get that, and I'm so tired of, and then I said, boy, if we just go against type, let me play this guy, who's critically, emotionally wounded, and who is convinced that, Ray's an only child, but they forgot to tell Robert, and that's what I've always used as like an actor type of thing. It's like, because, in comedy, there's a real fine line. You can get frustrated, but you got to be careful not to play anger. Even when you see Gleason, who was, one of the greatest, he was always having a tantrum. Yeah. I mean, he got away with stuff that we couldn't get away with today on broadcast TV, where he would put his fist up to her and threaten her. You knew it was a kid having a tantrum because he had all of his schemes and nothing ever worked out, and he was just a flawed big baby. So, the point being, when we all were developing the characters on Raymond, it's, I needed this guy to not be angry at Ray, but just always trying to get the upper hand, which he would never get.
Well, what also always worked on that show, when you go back and watch it, you had it, Ray had it, Peter Boyle had it, was the laughs in between the jokes. There was a lot of time just spent in those moments that huge laughs come from. How do you teach that type of thing?
Well, you don't. You really can't. The unfortunate thing, and why a lot of TV doesn't work, is they don't let those moments breathe. It's all talking heads.
Right.
It's shoot on the one that's talking. Phil Rosenthal, who was the co-creator and ran the show, he really was one of the first in the sitcom world to shoot the people listening, because he felt reaction was huge, as it always is if you have the takes. The thing about that show is you could go to anyone in that cast and they would have their moment, and any one of them could knock it over the fence. So it was great for the writers to be able, and that show really, I mean, it was really amazing writing, because they were able to capture every one of us, and the stories could, revolve around really any character. But I think that's why single camera today, which is what the new show is, and why I really loved it, is because it breathes. It's like film. You can take that moment.
Yeah.
Even though I love a live audience, when you don't have a live audience, you could take the time. You don't have to worry about everybody getting on the bus and leaving.
Yeah.
You can experiment, and it's more intimate, which is like when you see the sitcoms that go to the person who's not talking for reaction, it's just automatically more genuine, I think.
And I think what you're doing with your new show, too, is trusting in the audience, and that the audience is going to get it.
Yeah.
That the audience is...
You have to.
Yeah, you have to be there for that.
Yeah, because when there's no audience, it's like, well, what's working? Well, that's, so that's a whole different trust, which is really great, because you don't know what's going to work. So you could try it several different ways, and then hopefully in editing they get it, and you throw it up there, but they forget to. That's what's so great about film. There's always, there's always breath in it. It's, for TV is such a fast medium. It's done so quickly that so much is lost, especially on broadcast, because it's like, well, we need a commercial after this joke. It literally can't go 5 lines later. So sometimes you find yourself in broadcast writing towards the commercial break, which means you have to edit towards a commercial break, which means you may lose a joke you love, or it may have to come at a different point. And that's why I think, cable is just becoming the medium.
And now it's almost like broadcast is trying to reflect back to cable. It's like the shows that are doing now are kind of going in a different direction towards cable than where they were 10 years ago or whatever.
Exactly.
And for you, this, I guess, brings new opportunity because you've had enough time working in various different places in comedy.
Yeah, it's... Go ahead.
You feeling so much stronger now than when you first got into this game?
Yeah, I mean, there are times you go, God, I can't believe I'm still working. You know, and then as an actor, you'll go, a month without working, then you'll go, it's over. I mean, you just have that because it's a business that has no rhyme and reason. You know what I'm saying? It's like, things are going great. You go to a restaurant, you get that great table, and then, one of the Kardashians are there, and all of a sudden you're at a counter, and you're like, but she didn't earn it, but she has a great dumper.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it comes down to that. So it's that type of thing where, you want to go, oh, this is where I cut myself shaving today. Because it's such a scary business, I remember like when Survivor came out and that crazy guy, Richard Hatch.
Yeah.
The Raymond show was on it and Survivor was twice as big as Raymond when it started, when we all went, we all had the CBS thing and Richard Hatch, you would have thought he was mayor. You know what I'm saying? So it really is kind of what the audience creates. And that's the thing about reality. It's like, I had no idea it would last this long.
Yeah.
But what reality does is why people started watching television in the beginning. It takes their fantasy of being in the tube and it literally puts them there. They're going, oh my gosh, I could have a honey boo boo,
it could happen.
We know what you would have done to her.
Yeah, sure. You wouldn't have been there.
In hindsight.
Yeah. That cost me money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's go to a trailer park with a camera.
Right.
If you said this, you would go, no one's going to watch this. It's riveting.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to watch white trash, walk around, and breed and, feed their kid tapioca through an IV.
Yeah.
And put a tiara on them and watch them cry. I mean, what's better?
Well, you brought up Gleason and he was a genius because he could perform that. He could bring the New York street guy and say, this is what they're like. Now they would bypass Gleason and go straight to a bus driver.
Oh, they would.
And follow him around.
That's exactly right. See, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's a good point, and that's what's happening. But that's look, it's a voyeuristic medium, and you either want to be entertained or enlightened or mirrored. Go, oh my God, that's me. So, and then again, there are some New York bus drivers that are going to be funnier than half of the shit on.
Right, it does happen.
So that's the catch-22.
You played Gleason in that movie. I guess.
Well, as Ray called it, Jackie, the NBA years. I swear to God, he said to me, he comes to the premiere and they show like a trailer of it before. He's sitting next to me and goes, he was 5'10". I said, fuck you, Ray. Okay.
Hey, does he like that impression, by the way? Is he?
No,
he doesn't. Not a fan.
So hopefully he's listening. If he can hear me under his wallet.
Do you think he's managed to tuck away a few bucks after that show?
Tuck away?
Has anyone come close to making Ray money since he left?
No one has come close to making, but it's, it was obscene. It was obscene. The great part of, and first of all, so fucking cheap. I mean, the guy is he squeezes a nickel till the buffalo shits. You understand what I'm saying?
That's tight. That's really tight.
No, who's got my 15% tipping chart on him? He's really a generous guy. Not to me.
Yeah, right.
You know, but he's like, you know. But he's what I love about him, and you know, I don't have to say it because no one listens to this fucking show.
No,
but
just us.
Just us,
yeah.
Exactly. Hopefully, they won't leave on their scooter. He's the same dude.
Yeah.
That did the pilot, the same exact guy, and that to me is what's really, you know, that's. I mean, listen. When he was shooting the pilot, he was literally still living in Queens, across the street from his mom. His brother, who I had met while we were shooting, just moved back home, you know, and Ray, you know, he's like, you know, you got to write what you know. And he said to himself, he says, you know, I'm not an actor. I got to play what I do. And then, of course, down the line, and if you saw Men of a Certain Age, he's
sure.
You know, he's a hell of an actor, and I love that series. But he was smart enough, again, to surround himself and to write, you know. That's what was amazing about Phil Rosenthal, the creator, because every Monday he would go around the writer's table and say, you know, what happened this weekend in your house? Almost, I mean, literally 90% of the episodes were just taken from, you know, daily life. And
Phil did this show for an hour. And
did he?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, he's so much nicer than you. But
I know. Well, listen, you know,
he's a really sweet guy.
Being a billionaire makes you sweet.
Yeah, but also speaks incredibly highly of you and your talents.
Thank you.
But you guys did have that kind of accrual. Just everything was like a perfect storm.
It was, and again, you never know. It's very rare. To me, it's, you know, TV is a writer's medium. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. You could have an amazing cast. You could have an average cast with incredible writing, and you're gonna, you know, it's just gotta, and that's really the tough. Anybody out there that loves to write or wants to write, you know, that's the key, because there aren't many out there that can really do it.
And then oddly, that's the people that get almost the shit end of the stick, though, isn't it? In terms of show business itself.
Well,
movies, certainly.
Well, well, maybe movies, but, you know, the bottom line is when you create that pilot, you know, you're in it for life. Whether you're fired, replaced, I mean, if you create that pilot episode that becomes a show, that's huge. You have points out the gate. It's all about ownership. And you have ownership either being the star or the lead with clout, or something that can be renegotiated later, or the creator automatically, you know, has it, so they could be taken care of beyond any movie career, or because it goes on forever.
Well, I mentioned Peter Boyle on that show too, who could have been Gleason when he was younger. I mean, he had that.
You could have too.
He had that
too.
We could have all been Gleason. Really, we could have all been Gleason. But having that thing, what was that like to, you know, for a guy like yourself who?
Well, you know, again, you know, most of the roles I've been lucky enough to get, I fought for. You know, I was always a very odd type, a different type, you know, and when CBS did Gleason, the Raymond show was their #1 show, and I couldn't get the audition for Gleason. Now, in a way, I kind of get it. I see what they're saying, but I just knew that this is a guy I could play. And you know, the physical stuff, you know, we could work on, but I wasn't their first or second choice. And when I called Les Moonves, who was and still is the president of CBS, and he was very, very nice and took my call, which I couldn't believe. And I said, "Hey, I hear you're doing Gleason." He goes, "Yes, we're doing the Gleason story." I said, "Listen, I would, you know, if it happens, Mr. Moonves, I would love the opportunity to read, you know." And he went for who? And I said, for Trixie. I said, I have a slant on it that I would like you to.
That'd be crushing to hear for who.
Yeah,
I mean, he had to be like,
sure. And he was not being cavalier,
right.
Or he didn't see it. He goes, "Gosh, that's really, really interesting." Okay, well, we're out to a couple people. I said, okay, and he said, "You were out to John Goodman," and I went, "Well, that's a home run." Mm-hmm. And see, this is how good my self-image is. I recommend other people who were better than me to get the role I want. It's like, even in my home movies at the house, the kids won't let me in those. They're like, they'll be doing this, and I'll do the daddy wave, and they'll go, "Oh, we're going another way."
We're going.
And I'll go, "But I'm playing your dad." They said, "No, we know you're our dad, but we're out to Jeffrey Tambor."
He's good. He is good. He is good. Yeah.
Exactly. So they were out to Goodman. Goodman didn't want to do it because it was a TV movie. Totally good. They went out to Oliver Platt. And then Mark Addy had it, who had a big show on at that time, and called Still Standing, or How Am I Standing, or What Am I Standing On? I don't know what that. And then he was British, and then that just felt, and I literally got a call, and they went, "When could you be in Montreal?" And so right away there were issues, because we had to start filming in a week, and Howie Deutsch, who was a great feature director, who was nominated for the DGA for the movie, ended up getting on board. And once I knew Howard Deutsch was directing, I went, "Boy, we really gotta." So it's like, how do we work on the size thing? I'm a giant, and Gleason was not. And I said, because I'm so much bigger than the cast, I said, if I'm, holding my fist to Alice, all of a sudden I'm a bully. Mm-hmm. How do I? Because we were figuring things out, and we got this great makeup guy, and the director says, "Look, this is fucking crazy, but we got to put people in big shoes that play against you. You can't." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I have an idea." So Saul Rubinek, one of the greatest character actors, is playing my manager, who's like 5'3", okay? And his name is Bullets, right? Who was Gleason's old manager. So they said, we got to bump Saul up to, 5'10". Still you'll be a good head bigger than him, but it's like, this guy's ordering Gleason around, and it looks like he could. So they get these boots that are custom made for, and it looks like we all just left like a Kiss concert. Everyone is, and Saul Rubinek is going, "How do you walk in these fucking things?" And so the director's like, "You know what? We won't shoot anyone walking. It'll just be everyone, I'm Gleason, And but we had to make furniture higher, mm-hmm. and we had to make doorways bigger, because or else I'm home, Alice. I'm doing the fucking limbo and everything. So it took a lot of people really. And then we just totally rewrote the script, which it was, because it was a TV movie, it was very sappy originally. And it was really just a tribute to the Honeymooners, which that isn't what Howie Deutsch or myself wanted. We wanted to show his flawed life. And they were like, "Look, we don't want to see, the womanizing and the drinking. We want little hints about it, but we don't want him wrecked, and we don't want him falling, and we don't want him having it out with his real wife." And, but we went that way because, we were such under the gun to deliver it that by the time the dailies went from Montreal, and it ended up really, being well received, and the network was generous about it. But again, it's something I always wanted to play him, because I just related, to this large kid, because I'm a large kid, and I think most actors are kids, that just don't totally evolve for one reason or another, except for this guy. "Hi, how are you? Good to see you, Whitesnake. Pleasure." Oh, look, it's Run DMC over there. And, look, the receptionist is being held up. That's always fun.
By the way,
who are those people? Because you're a rocker, right?
Well, I will say there's not one of them.
Jay-Z?
Yeah, not one of them was a man. Everyone that you were talking about was a woman. That you were calling Run DMC. Those are all women.
Those are women?
Yeah, those are women.
But not originally. Okay.
I know today those are all women.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like a whoop-off. Whoopi's my buddy. A whoop-off.
A whoop-off.
Yeah.
And this is great about doing something with glass walls. It's really
well. First
helpful
of all, listen, my career is, you know, I just when I thought maybe it was good, it's like we're gonna do this in the lobby in case it's really bad. Well, just the trap door will open. This is really amazing. I've always thought an audience for radio would be incredible.
Yeah,
I always, it's a, you know, except for today.
Well, that's the way radio started.
That's correct.
You know, here. Yes. And by the way, the stuff with Gleason Party and in New York, you still hear those legends of different bars that he hung out.
That's right.
In New York, never has gone away all these years.
Shores.
Toots Shores was right around the corner.
I have an ashtray from Toots Shores. It's
really? Where'd you get it from?
Someone sent it. Someone found it on eBay.
Really?
Bought it and sent it to me. With a letter that I had to soak in water before I opened it. You'll never be Gleason, Jew! You know, it's like one of these scary letters.
Those are nice.
You know how people get.
Yeah.
You know.
Honey, you open the mail.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then start the car.
Yeah, there's always haters.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever.
But I want to go back to your stand-up a little bit because you were a guy that kind of got shot through that cannon in TV of Star Search and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Were you prepared? Were you ready for, to suddenly be well known as
No, I mean, I had 10 minutes of material, and when I auditioned for Star Search, I was waitering at TGI Fridays at the same literally, and you needed like 2-3 minute sets to be on Star Search. I never thought I would make the audition. And back then, they really didn't know what they were doing, Star Search. It was a pilot. They never thought it would, catch fire like it did. And they didn't even, when they had the auditions, they would audition the singers with the comics. Mm-hmm. And they figured, well, the singers don't need an audience, so we'll audition the comics on the same day. And there was no audience. So you're doing your bit, you're following a singer, and it's crickets, or like I call it, it was crickets' thoughts. It was so friggin' quiet. Thoughts of crickets.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, I look at it was my stuff was very tame and very, derivative and just cheesy, but it worked at, 7 o'clock at night. And I caught a little fire to it. And because my stuff was kind of one-liner stuff, it just, I got lucky because I went against some guys that really, had some real, chops in it. But I was new. And, and it was a 2.5 stars, he would say. And then I would get ice for Ed McMahon and, I'd pour his bourbon and he'd rub my head. And, you're a good Jew.
But that ended up you being on The Tonight Show, right?
Yeah, that led to The Tonight Show.
And you're a kid at the time.
I was 24.
Wow.
24 on The Tonight Show.
With Johnny.
With Johnny.
Wow.
Which was really great. Yeah. Yeah, it was, it was an amazing time. You're on the other side of that curtain going, I should not be here.
Right.
That rainbow curtain that he would have in Walker. But he was very, very gracious. And it was great. And then I started, then I was an opening act for 10 years from that. Because I worked very clean in those days. Mm-hmm. Now it's not good.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm
something happened.
I go out there medicated. 'Cause I don't drink anymore. I just celebrated 16 years of a government ban on me doing anything.
Yeah.
And but back in those days, well, you get a little loopy and you walk out there in someone else's pants. So, but it was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
And yet, like you still wanted to do the acting, even though you're in Vegas, you're touring around.
Yep.
Then you have success on one level, but you still got to go back and now re-earn it.
Yep.
Acting.
And look, I'm still earning it. I mean, the show I'm on, I kid you not, and I totally get it. The world knows you. They go, well, you're typecast. You're Robert. They try to make it a bad thing. And it's really a great thing. I'd rather be typecast than to have never been at bat. Right. You know what I mean? But as an actor, it's my job to recreate myself, to come up with another character. They'll always see me as that. There'll never be a show I'm on that'll be as big as that. And I get it. Mm-hmm. But I'm an actor. I'm paid to be different people, hopefully. And, but I'm auditioning 30 years later, and I auditioned for this pilot, and people don't believe it because it's something I really believed in and I really wanted, and I wanted to play a guy who's happy in his skin, and I knew I needed a role where I could be more myself and just kind of, freewheeling like the guy I play on this show. But, unless you're one of the huge elite in this business where they send you 10 scripts a day, you're constantly convincing.
But I think what's great is still at this point of your career, and you said it's 30 years, you're doing a character that I didn't see coming. You know what I mean? So I've known you all the time, and I'm looking at it. I'm going, that is a whole different direction. It's really funny.
Thank you.
And you're with Elizabeth Perkins, and you guys are doing something with a family comedy that hasn't been done.
Yeah, it's very, very different and unique. And, Sarah Chalk, who's the star of the show, she's fearless comedically, and she's one of the few actors that her physical comedy, we did this scene where she's in an MRI machine, and she was, it was hysterical. They didn't even know but she's so genuine, and she's really one of the best comedians I ever worked with, because she can go broad, she could be funny and silly, but I don't know if you saw her on Grey's Anatomy, she just blew everybody's mind. So she's got the chops, and she keeps the show grounded. And me and Elizabeth, we're the cuckoos and just having a great time.
I think it's so cool in the way that you guys, because normally you look at those sitcoms and it would take these parents and they would be fighting back and forth. But you guys are swinging together.
Yeah, we dig each other. We dig each other. And I love that. We've done the bickering parents. We've all seen that. And, there are people that are married 23 years and love each other. I've never met them, but I hear they're... How do you keep, and I'm talking to these lovely people, how do you keep it going?
We have happy hour.
You have happy hour.
Happy hour.
There you go. Yeah. So happy hour, the last 2 minutes. And
I thought you were going for happy
endings. What did you say?
Respect. So respect each other.
Respect.
Yeah.
Is that novel to you?
Is it novel? Does it happen? Come on. Do you respect him?
Yeah, he's a very hard worker. He's a good dad. He's a great husband.
He's such a crock of shit.
It is.
I asked if you respected him.
That's really cool. I think respect has to be part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Except in the bedroom. I think that's where all the respect has to leave.
And
you will now be my little pirate. Honey, I can't see with this patch. Put it on! Put it on, you fucking father! No. That's not. You're an amazing couple. There's a great vibe. This worries me.
Yeah,
they're going to be on Cops.
Yeah.
He's going to be in front of the mailbox with a machete.
Well, these are your people.
Listen, all 14 of them, and I appreciate you. See, my fans come in one car, so I feel like that I'm helping the environment and my carbon footprint.
You don't go anywhere that you're not recognized, right? You're always recognized.
Only when I need something am I not recognized. When I need help,
right?
I'm recognized when I'm either at a urinal or buying something I shouldn't be buying.
Is there a downside to wherever you go? You're known as
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. It's like when it's weird. It's like I'm really into being a dad. I love being with my kids, and they've always grown up that because they were born when I was just starting on Raymond. But it's kind of like. It's tough because when I'm with them, I want them to know that I'm grateful and I'm gracious. But sometimes when we go out and do things what other families do, people, want some time or want the photos. And there's a fine line of, yes, I'm happy to do it. And but then it starts to take away from their time.
Sure.
So it's a fine line. It's like the paparazzi or these TMZ assholes, when my kids were young. And they would jump out of a bush, or they would follow you at a restaurant, or Ray and I have the thing. If they're following us, how slow is Hollywood today?
Right,
you know what I mean? I mean, if they're following me and Ray at Petco, there's really a problem. But when it starts to be odd, to me, I think there's something really wrong that a paparazzi can take pictures of your kids that are minors and have them all over the internet. Mm-hmm. Now you couldn't do that to someone who's a dentist or a farmer or someone, and because this is the thing that we've all talked about, they deserve the privacy. They didn't pick this business. We did. And then at the end of the day, I feel that it's a small price to pay for a great life. You know, these are people that I'm where I'm at because they did turn on the tube and they do give a shit. It's just a fine, it's a fine line, you know. But
you don't think of most people coming up to you as the paparazzi. Paparazzi are those just professional.
Oh, it's the ones that, you know, that
and they want to piss you off.
Well,
right?
and they do, and I learned, I went through an episode where I just felt it was really, and I reacted when I shouldn't have. And I learned, I mean, I would do it all over again because I really got a great swipe at this guy.
Yeah, right.
It was just, I mean, it wouldn't stop. And it's usually someone, that's not documented and they're not big on bathing and because they're in bushes all day and they're hunting and they're going through your trash. And they call me, and first of all, let me tell you where my career's going. Half the people think I'm Kramer. So yes. So when they started, and it's usually Latinos. I don't know why it is. But like I'll go to the mall, like Kramer, it's Kramer, eh? You're gonna problem with the brothers, which is not me. So once they started calling me Kramer, that's when I went. It's over. It's starting to get over. Yeah. So it's when they start mistaking you for the minute someone yells, "Hey, Screech." I'm done.
And he's, by the way, he's saying this as he's got a new TV show on, and you guys are moaning for him.
Well,
he's doing okay.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay, but the wheels can come off any time, brother.
Well,
right?
We're betting against it.
Well,
everybody,
I would love that.
Let's hear it from Mr. Brad Garrett. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, man. Oh, man, thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.